drinks.
Welcome!
What's going
So
on?
much energy.
I am the most energetic of all time.
It's our
Good
morning
morning,
edition
guys.
of hot coffee and hot takes.
Except
It's,
none of us have hot. No,
I'm
John has
doing
hot
iced.
coffee.
I have hot
I
coffee.
have ice water because I'm not a coffee person.
I didn't know that you don't drink caffeine.
No, it does bad things to my body. I started having heart palpitations. So.
Oh, that's normal. You just accept
That
that.
means it's working.
Well, I don't like being scared.
Whatever.
Right.
All right, Anne, you are the most organized of us all,
Yes.
which is not hard.
Organized.
So please, would you summarize?
Absolutely, my pleasure. Okay, so I typed these notes up right after I read them because otherwise I would immediately forget everything. So, the lab blows up. Very exciting. It was probably sabotaged by Runthorn, the dickhead. So everybody who was like kind of working on their own thing pretty much just joins him, except for Sciona, who is like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna do my own thing still. There's a sort of time skip where Tommel basically improves, learns magic, etc., gets really good at it. And then Sciona and Tommel kind of debate history and religion, and that serves as a sort of lore dump for the reader, which is really helpful, and I actually enjoyed it. And then Sciona has a breakthrough, kind of inspired by Tommel and his innovative way of looking at things outside of the box, which is, somebody not raised and taught like in traditional ways would do. And so she does a little bit of heresy, which is, always love a little bit of heresy. Then they finally get to a clear picture siphoning from the other world. And Tommel's, whoa, dude, that's just the outside world. That's real life. And he asks Sciona to siphon from a bush, and she does it. And Tommel's, that's blight. That's crazy. And that's where we end. Cliffhanger.
So
That's crazy.
Right.
What? He also throws the spellograph across the room and shatters it.
I think that's a reasonable reaction to have.
Yeah,
I don't
some light trauma is bubbling up,
PTSD, like, oh my. So with the forbidden coordinates, I wonder if. I mean, we're vindicated, right? We did say the blight is
100%.
channeling, or however you want to say it.
Yeah, the second that they were like the forbidden coordinates are a ring, or the forbidden coordinates are like one spot, and then there's like coordinates outside that are like permanently siphoned from.
Mm-hmm.
That's the city. That's the city.
Yeah.
If you think about it, that is a great defensive spell. If anyone wanted to attack them,
100%.
it just you can't get through it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep, it kills your attackers and powers your defense.
Yep.
It's like a double whammy. Is anybody else hoping for maybe another big drop in this book? Because I wouldn't say that this was a twist. I think we all saw this coming.
Yeah.
The blight is the magic.
Yeah.
That, like, I wouldn't even say like that was like trying to be hidden. Like that's felt very, very
no,
foreshadowed.
for sure.
Coming.
Mm-hmm.
Which I
Wonder if
do
we're gonna get something
love
else.
because it's very anti-MCU way of thinking, where it's the surprise twist has to come totally out of the left field. Nobody could have predicted it. They really kill all the spoilers or the theories and stuff. They have to do something nobody's expecting, and it's like, well, that's
Mm-hmm.
not good storytelling. So I kind of did like that. This was very much projected. They dropped a lot of hints and on that, and we were rewarded.
And it came
for
early enough too. Like we're not like you said, we're not finding out in the epilogue like the blight was magic the whole time.
Yes.
This is coming early enough. Yeah.
With it being so early, because we're not halfway through.
Yeah, we're almost at the halfway.
We're almost halfway through. This reveal being this early, what do you think? Because she's figured out the mapping and how to power the shield now at this point, what do you think is going to be the great conflict of the story? Because they've already figured it out, right? Because even the back of the book says they try to figure out how the blight happens or learn more about it. Does this just now switch to a love story? I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
I think this is a very character-driven story. And I think the main conflict is going to be Sciona kind of coming at odds with her desire for glory.
I disagree.
And magic. It's her power.
Uh-huh.
I think she's going to give it up because power is basically killing people.
Yeah. Well, that's true. I think that's definitely going to feature in it. Actually, I wasn't really thinking about that conflict at all, which kind of
It's a
shows you
huge.
where
Yeah.
my priorities lie. Because I was, oh yeah, obviously there's going to be another big reveal, and it's going to be the skeletons in the closet of the institution, you know. And the conflict, I think, is going to be the conflict between Sciona and Tamil, and the whole sort of magic governance is doing all of this. And I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm hoping for too much drama and too much dismantling of the institutions and stuff, because
I think we'll get that too, though. Yeah, I think I'll go hand in hand with.
About it.
I think Siona's going to say, well, that's Blight. We have to tell people because people don't know. And she's going to tell her mentor, and her mentor's already going to know.
Yep.
Once you get to, what is it, like I don't know the ranks, but like the Grand High Mage that her mentor is, I think they know for sure.
Too. Gearing up the mentor to have a dark past. Like they're.
Siona, I'm so right on that, dude.
The Tamil, conflict. He knows he's bad. She loves him. It's the same. Yeah. She thinks of the mentor the same way she thinks of Leon. Or Prophet.
Well, it doesn't sound like Leon. Oh, sorry for interrupting. But it doesn't sound like Leon was a bad guy. It sounds like the different sect of the Turigian. No, right? Because it was his. Other than him hating the Quen, right?
It's stealing like their artifacts and their language and their magic, and
I don't necessarily.
Thieving colonizer.
Yeah,
okay, well. I think he learned from them, and he didn't, unless I'm wrong, which I could be, but he didn't, essentially, he didn't genocide the Quen. That was his student, who created the different sect. He just learned from the Quen and brought it and created the city, and then his disciple is the one who really was like, the Quen are terrible and they can't be redeemed. Am I wrong on that?
I would equate it to like, if Leon found like the Quen and say they had a bunch of guns, he stole all their guns, and then his disciples used those guns to kill the Quen.
Yeah, but it wasn't his fault. That his disciples. Yeah, but it isn't his fault that the disciples did.
Magic and artifacts.
Okay,
I think he's a bad person.
I think that maybe he's slightly less bad than the other guys, because back in chapter 5, Sciona talks about how she's a Leonite, which is unusual for a mage. So I think most mages are Turasian, or however you pronounce that.
Yeah, they're Tiracid, or because everything I see about the stuff that's saying that the Quen suck are from the Turigian, and that he's just saying, "Oh, Prophet Leon said this," but that he could have just made that up.
Yeah,
and I don't think it's a crime to learn from another culture. That's essentially what I think Leon did, and then his disciples.
I don't think it was just learning. Tom will kind of imply that he went and like stole stuff from the Quen witches.
So that's 200 years ago that we don't know about, right? Because all we know is that Leon created the city, and all the writings we've seen so far are the Turigian version of it, where because I'm going back and I'm reading it, and that's where the disciples saying like, yeah, Lord Leon said this, but we don't know if, and I'm not a Leonite, right? Like I have no dog in this fight, but I'm just saying we can't comfortably say that Leon was this terrible person. For all we know is he was like, oh hey, look at this really cool magic that these people are doing. Let me create a city where I can create more education and growth and this nice new city. And maybe one of his disciples was like, you know who I hate? Those people over there, and we're going to use their magic to kill them. And that doesn't mean he co-signed that. He might have not known. This might have all happened post Prophet Leon's death.
Right.
I can buy into that. I don't agree. I don't buy into it, but I can see the argument there. We don't know.
I think that introduces an interesting issue of history is written by the victors, yada yada yada. But I think that the way that it's discussed, the conflict that's introduced, it's very much said, oh, Leon takes artifacts and writing books and stuff from the Quen. I think the fact that they talk about it and have conflict about it, not necessarily from if this was like a story where you're being gaslit subtly, I would, oh, okay, maybe that's possible. But this is not super subtle about being like, oh, this is indoctrination, like this is colonization, yada, yada, yada. So I don't think there's an additional layer of, oh, this was written about this, but, it's actually this. Yeah, they argued about it. I think it's a pretty straightforward. Leon did. He not necessarily was a bad person. It's sort of like what we were talking about in the book club chat of being, yeah, you can have good intentions and still do bad things. You can found a city and be like, I'm rescuing, precious knowledge from the savage natives or whatever, and still be like, no. That wasn't.
Yeah,
That's how I
but
took
that's
it.
not. But we don't know Leon said that, right? Like that's what I'm saying is that is what's been interpreted and taught. Well, it's implied through years and years of like, hey, this is actually what happened by people telling the story. That doesn't mean that's what Leon thought. So in the Leonid, from the chapter 5 things, God has set me forth the above to be known as the forbidden coordinates. Mages, have caution, for to gaze on the fruits of these coordinates within the coil is to walk a dark path, and to siphon therefrom is certain and eternal damnation. So says Fair and the All-Knowing. So, forbidden coordinates, for me, just reading that says like, hey, don't siphon from here, because the siphon from here will damn you. Did I read that wrong?
I don't know. You read that just like word for word. I have no idea what you're saying in relation to like the conversation.
So this is from the Leonid. So these are from Leon's words, right? So from the way I'm reading this, and I could be dumb, right? Like I'm just a big dumb idiot.
This is Leon's words. Just make sure I'm on
this is Leon's words. And he's saying, mages, have caution, for to gaze on the fruits of these coordinates within the coil is to walk a dark path, and to siphon therefrom is certain and eternal damnation. So the way I read what he wanted the forbidden coordinates to be were like, do not siphon from here. That would be bad. And the Tiranesian sect of this is like, no, don't siphon from here because we need it to power the city. See, and that's why they're forbidden.
Oh, you read that. I don't have it in front of me. That sounds like Leon is trying to be like, hey, don't look at the forbidden coordinates because you will see what the power sources come from.
That's what I'm thinking.
Sure, yeah, that's total. This is why interpretations are so fun.
Yeah, that's
because like people read it differently.
Yeah.
I think Leon was like, I think he knows where the magic was coming from. And he was like, hey.
Well, I think he knows where the magic was coming from. For me, he's saying, I know where the magic is to come from, and to siphon from here is certain and eternal damnation.
But why not look then? Why does he say don't look?
So, for the way I read it is like, do not even look at trying to siphon from here.
Okay. Yeah, I read that like, differently.
Yeah, I think it's don't look, all of the mapping is blurry, so you don't know that you're siphoning from like people and nature and all that sort of thing.
Oh, that's sure. But then how do But I mean, the Quen witches have to siphon from somewhere too. How do they siphon?
I don't think they siphoned.
Great question.
No, they didn't siphon. They used it to scry on their families out hunting. True. They didn't siphon.
Yep.
Wait, sorry, I don't understand. Can you... So they didn't use magic other than to look?
Yeah, because I remember she was the traveling mage went and he stayed with the witch, and she was using it to watch her son out hunting, just to keep it.
Yeah, but how do you power the spell?
You don't need to siphon to use the spellograph to mapping. Siphon's pulling stuff from it. You could use just the mapping stones to look. You don't need to pull energy. Yeah, I think that came from...
That doesn't quite make sense to me.
Well, I think that's going to be one of the things that we get clarity on, as the book continues. Just like all of these things that are conflicting sources and like different teachings and stuff. I think those are going to be clarified, and we're going to be like, okay, so this is what's true. Like this is what these guys did. Hopefully. I mean, I know there's, you said, John, like it's 200, 300, however many centuries ago.
And also, remember, they talked about the Thousand Witch War, and they're like, oh, if the Quen witches were so powerful, how did, like, 7 mages beat, like, 1,000 of them? And it's like, well, like, they weren't siphoning because that's bad. So maybe they're doing small level magic, like, maybe killing a leaf to, like, light a fire or something like that. Taking a small source of energy, but it doesn't sound like they were siphoning.
That would make sense to me. What you're saying is like, oh, they can just look wherever they want. That doesn't, without using any magic. That doesn't make sense to me. So the way I'd look at it is, right, the siphoning is the equivalent of a nuclear reactor around them. Wherever it touches is just toxic and dies, right? Or whatever. Like, they need, like, a giant power source. But if you're saying they could just, a small fire next to them to power the magic, that makes sense.
Also think about, too, because Sciona and Thamo, when they looked at the real life snow in the bush when they were doing the mapping technique, they didn't use magic until Tom was like, put in a spell. They were able to look at something, and then Tom was like, add a spell, and that's when they saw the blight. Because
I know,
mapping
but
isn't.
Does
Yeah.
break the rule of, oh, magic comes at a cost, because looking at stuff is pretty magical. Looking at stuff that's not where you are, that's pretty magical.
that is
It
So
is,
I don't know,
100% magic.
maybe yeah, maybe they'll address that, or maybe it's not. Maybe it's I don't know that that's been
Maybe it's just
foreshadowed to
in-world.
be something that's brought up to be like issue.
To go back, I'm not saying Leonid is a good guy. What I am saying is, I think I was just looking at a different chapter, and it was saying, this is chapter 8. I will not fear evil, for where I go, God's light goes also. In the presence of God, I will not turn my gaze, though light burn me, for the light will show the truth of the world, and all the world's truth is fair in the Father. So the way I read that is, hey, you have to know what you're doing. And so either, there's two ways to interpret this, right? Hey, we have to look before we siphon, otherwise we could kill people. And the other way to look at it is like, hey, we're going to siphon, and it doesn't matter if we kill people. And you have to just deal with that because magic is the truth.
Mm.
So there's 100% two ways to read that, right?
I could see it. I still have money on Liam being a bad guy, but I could see the argument for maybe
for sure
misinterpreting.
I'm just not ready to be like, hey, we know this guy stinks, because we don't.
Right.
We just don't have enough knowledge about that yet. When you read the Tiran, right, which is his disciples' interpretations of his words, not Leonid's words himself, this is chapter 6. The Quen were cursed in living in darkness when Lord Prophet Leon freed the basin from their control in his mercy. Leon offered their surviving leaders a way out of the darkness. Instead, they turned away and sealed their curse in perpetuity when they refused the true God. Now, when the wretched descendants of these tribes enter Tiran, they do so as half-souls, trained by the folly of their forebears. It is our duty as Tiranish to make these wretches whole through re-education and offer them every opportunity to redeem their souls through labor. Though, in his savagery, the Quen shows little gratitude to civilize him is the moral obligation of all Tiranish as the chosen god. So that guy clearly sucks, right? But that's from the Tir-Sid conduct.
Yeah, that literally could have been lifted from writing about Native Americans back in the day.
Literally everything, right? Like, you could write that about the English and the Irish. There's so many different examples of that in the world. I mean, the way I read this is like English and Irish, right? Because that's just me. Yeah. Because to me it sounds like England with Oxford and then hating on the Irish and the Scottish. That's how I read it. But you could apply this to so many different civilizations throughout the world.
Basically, yeah. It's just...
I mean, wherever there is someone who can take power, they will. And they will oppress it over other people. You see that even in microcosms with, like, bad managers at work, right?
Yeah.
They're like, hey, I have power over you, so I will subject power over you. Power is an intoxicating drug. It doesn't matter who you are. You could call this through any civilization in the world. You name it, they've done it, right? You go back to the Akkadians, whose thing was like, I'm going to take your god, kill it, and then you will be your god is our slave, essentially, right? It goes back forever. Doesn't matter who. What I'm saying is clearly that one of Leon's disciples hated the Quens.
Yeah.
They did not like him, but we do not know how Leon actually interpreted this and taught it. Because what could also happen, right, is Leon was like, hey, this is a bad idea. We shouldn't do that. And his disciples were like, well, hey, you already taught us everything. And so we're going to kill you. We're going to take your writings. And we're going to just create this whole slave culture.
Yeah.
I would be surprised if they go that route, though, because it's interesting to have the two different philosophies on religion, Leonites and Tiresians, and to make one of them like that much more objectively worse than the other, I feel like would be cheap. If it's,
I would say that has happened all throughout history.
I think that, John, you've actually kind of won me over that Leon is not as bad. I was already open to it, but after reading this precursor for chapter 8, I will not fear evil, for wherever I go, God's light goes also. I still think that I still do believe that he stole from the Quen and took artifacts, took knowledge, and then went off and did his own thing. And I don't think that was like learning from another culture. I mean, he did do that also. also, but I think that was very much theft, as Tamil says, because Tamil is kind of set up as like, oh, the realistic confrontation of Sciona's indoctrinated false beliefs. I do think that this section is really, really interesting, so I'm glad that you reminded me that it existed, because I think God's light is when the Blight's light. I think that's the Blight's light, because like the Blight, it's like light and then the body unravels and stuff. In the presence of God, I will not turn my gaze, though light burn me, which I think is Blight as well. And then for the light will show the truth of the world, and all the Lord's truth is of Farron the Father. And I don't know what the fuck that means, so
I think Farron's a god.
But I don't know like what that is. Let me search up Farron here.
The way I interpret that is, hey, if I use this magic irresponsibly and I kill people, like, God will damn me for this.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I'd be so disappointed if that's where this goes, because Siona's she's already mentioned that, like, being a woman high mage is very rare, and she's rare for being a Leonite. So if like her religious foundation isn't challenged with this revelation, because her unique belief is the good one, like, okay, like what's the point for the character then? Like, what do we?
That's also a good point.
I mean, objectively, right? Like what you just said is, hey, there's good in a bunch of religions, right? But the way they took her religion and corrupted it, right, essentially. Right? Hey, like, we took your religion and we made all these other rules that just exclude everybody out, except for these specific people. So what you're saying, I think you just proved my point when you said, hey, her religion might be the correct interpretation of her religion, of the overarching religion, but the Tyranids corrupted it to the point where, like, hey, everybody sucks but these few people.
That puts her in too good of a spot, though, as a character. She has no basis to challenge herself, then.
That's not true, because she's been...
Right side of everything.
No, she's not, though, because she's been siphoning and killing people.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
So she's going to have to deal with that morally. Sorry to cut you off, Anne. But she's going to have to deal with that morally. She doesn't know how many people she's killed.
Right.
And the way she siphoned is she's very strong with her siphoning, and her special mapping means... maybe she's just ripping people apart because she's strong for a woman, but she's siphoning, right? Like, for a woman, right?
Yeah.
But, I mean, none of that makes sense because they're stealing energy from everywhere outside. It doesn't matter how... my opinion on this... nope, it's gone.
Yeah. No, what you were saying about the two religions, I think that's just like a direct... real world parallel between I talked about a little bit about my parents deconstructing indoctrination, fundamentalist stuff, and me and my sister and my parents have been reading this book that I think I asked John about, which is Jesus and John Wayne, How White Evangelicals Corrupted a Faith and Fractured a Nation. And I think that's kind of a direct parallel between, Jesus was a pretty cool guy, and then you've got all these thousands and thousands of years later, people being, we should, go to war and kill and, ostracize people who are not like us, etc., etc., etc. So I think that being like, oh, that's not realistic it's the not being raised religious thing. But I'm like, oh, yes, I see it. I see it.
Because how different are the different sects? Yeah, and how different are the different sects of Christianity?
Freaking
you know
Christianity,
what I mean?
Calvinism, Protestant, yada 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 yada.
Baptist, Catholic, right? There's so many different sects.
Religion loves a schism.
Exactly.
It would
so
just be so boring to me if Siona's on the right side.
It's not boring.
It's more interesting.
It's not right. Like John said,
it's not boring. It's
hello war crimes.
Yeah,
she's still war crimes. But if her fundamental beliefs is still objectively the right ones, I think that's boring. I want her to
who says that it is? Because her beliefs and what she's seen has also schismed and different from what Leon was teaching, right? You could interpret the teachings the wrong way with the extra books.
I think that
she's a Leonite.
Is kind of I think it's when somebody who is indoctrinated and raised religious kind of starts having beliefs that are in conflict with the culture that they were raised in, but they haven't fully deconstructed and distanced themselves and unpacked all of that, because you can still very much officially subscribe to all of the teachings and stuff while also kind of being, but I don't think that people should be exiled, for certain things or whatever. So
yeah, I think that'd be interesting. She's a Leonite. There's problems with the prophets. He was just a man, right? He's not a God chosen.
The narrative is going to entirely be oh, her beliefs are fine. I don't think that's
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping for. That's all I
yeah,
want. I want to be like, hey, like problematic prophet, still believe in
for sure,
like her
for sure.
god, but
Because
needs to be
I think
challenged.
she's also being written as hella racist. So
She
if
is
that should be
unbelievable. She's
challenged,
like,
I absolutely.
Yeah.
you're smart for a Quen. She is not
Literally,
like a
literally, like
likable.
you can fight well for a girl.
Yeah.
She is
Like the racism
super
version.
unlikable in a good way, but she's very unlikable. Like
Yeah,
I would not get a beer
yeah,
with Sciona.
yeah.
She
I
is
love the. I love flawed characters, even if it
same.
makes me cringe and
Mhm.
makes me be like,
This was the cringiest section though. I will say, 'cause you guys know the group
yeah,
chat. I was talking about it. You guys got
yeah,
you got me turned around on it though. Again, like I wasn't raised religious, so when she was
right,
so adamant about how hard it was to be a woman and her
yeah,
culture and how
yeah,
much it sucked, and then the next sentence be like, "Oh, these male prophets who are the foundation of everything, you can't say anything bad about them. They were great
yeah,
people." And I'm like,
yeah.
because
Uh,
Tom will check her, like she's getting checked in the
Thank
works, which
God,
I love.
thank God.
Yeah, she needs to
Catabasis
be.
is just all the racism and the misogyny with nobody checking. Nobody's
Yeah, you
checking.
need
Nobody's
you
calling
need that
out.
check, and it's a good
but
check. Like it's smart. There's no straw man arguments. It's very well done. I was just rolling my eyes when Sciona was going off. I was like, okay. It's like we're so close. Like yours, big blind spot.
to be clear, those same disciples that they're talking about that put forth essentially a lot of the Prophet of Leon's teachings, they're the corrupted people, right? When you go through the Tyranid
You
stuff and the
subscribe to that
Tyranid
belief. I
books,
personally do not. I think Leon was just as corrupted until I'm proven otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm on the.
sure,
I think they're all corrupted because as far as Leon's just a man, right? He's
he's a
not like
prophet.
a Jesus
He's
Christ
not the son
figure,
of
right? He's
God.
not.
No,
Okay,
he
yeah,
he would be
and I
like
believe.
he would be like a Moses type figure in my because like
Okay.
he went to the mountain, talked to the voice of God, and got these kind of
Which
like
I think was
commandments
Quen.
almost.
I think that was Quen magic. I truthfully think the whole voice and light of God is the Quen magic that he's
I
laying bare in the
subscribe to the
sky.
belief that it's all magic, that it's throughout the world.
Well, I don't know what that. I have no horse in that particular magic race,
Sure.
but I think both that it as a balance of that with Leon, and it's like he was a flawed dude who did some
Yeah,
not great stuff, but also
Mm.
he was trying
yeah,
to keep it real. And then the consequences of his actions are genocide and
Yeah,
war crimes.
yeah.
So
which
it kind
does
of
I
fit
goes
mean,
into
back
like,
to like
Tommel's.
it kind of
Yeah,
goes back to like the Tamil Sciona like a debate of that.
which might be the
for
central
sure.
like theme of the book. Like, is attentions all that matter, or is
Absolutely,
consequences of
absolutely,
your actions what
Hmm.
matters? So I
100%.
can subscribe. I could buy into
Yeah.
Leon maybe having good intentions and then genocide. I
What
get
you
that.
were saying in the group chat last night, we were like, no, intentions matter. And I said, no, intentions do not matter because if it ends in genocide, like the example I gave, like Hitler thought he was saving the world from the Jews, right?
Mm.
Like his intention was to save the world, but in reality, he was committing a genocide.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I still subscribe to intentions matter, but I think I might have to like put a scale to it.
Yeah.
Wow, what
Yeah.
a world
If
where you're
I
defending Hitler. Calm down, pal. I'm just kidding, I'm just
Oh
kidding.
I
no,
said
our first
scale.
cancellation.
Like, if I help an old lady cross the street and like we slip on
Yeah.
ice,
Right.
I don't think I should go to hell. But like,
Yeah.
yeah, if I'm
I mean, like,
genociding a whole
as
people,
someone who
No, I was just making a
has,
joke.
yeah. Like, as someone who has family members and who has been indoctrinated, I feel like very much you cannot like burn that bridge. I mean, like, unless it's for like your own health and welfare and stuff. I feel like people are always going to be in different places because of like upbringing has so much to do with it, you know, because
yeah,
you don't have a choice there. And I think to condemn people for something that they don't have a choice over is not cool. I mean, like, obviously there still needs to be like accountability and stuff, and you know, regardless of your intentions, if you kill a guy, that's still
yeah.
homicide. But I think there
Yeah.
definitely
Unless you're a
needs to be
surgeon
like,
who's trying to save a guy.
unless you were a drunk surgeon.
No.
I don't know where I'm going with this, but I do think that intentions need to be taken into consideration when punishment is being levied, because like, you know, first degree murder is different from manslaughter.
Second-degree manslaughter.
Mhm.
You know, like it's they don't change what you've done, but you are being judged before a system who is levying out punishment. I do think that that should be taken into consideration based on the weight of the consequences and what the intention was, and also how thoughtful you were about going about your stuff. Because if it's manslaughter because you were being negligent at your job and you weren't going through the safety processes that you should have been, that's different from if it was just like a pure total accident. I don't think it's black and white, and I think that this book does a pretty good job about portraying that. So I don't think
it's a really
like,
interesting theme to be playing with. It's cool
I
to
don't
read.
think that the answer is going to be, oh, intentions absolutely matter, or oh, intentions don't matter.
Yeah, it's going to be a
I think
mix.
it's very much a balance.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah, I think ML Wong has kind of concealed enough information that we don't have a clear, and that's all I'm saying is we don't have a clear picture of it yet.
Right.
I can buy into that.
If we see later on that Leon's like, you know what, fuck these Quinn, and the horse they came in on, I'm gonna take everything that I learned from them, because like I don't think so. With what you were saying, like if he stole artifacts, yeah, 100% wrong. But I don't think learning is stealing knowledge. I think more knowledge is better. Like, so that's what you said is like he stole knowledge. Like I don't think learning is stealing knowledge.
He stole artifacts.
Yeah, stealing artifacts is different than stealing knowledge, because stealing knowledge is just the word for that is learning, right? Because otherwise, I stole from college, right? I stole from the college I went to. You know what I mean?
We should all still be stealing from colleges.
Exactly. We should all. Learning isn't a bad thing in general. The more you learn, the more objective you can. And if you can take yourself out of like your perspective, then you become objective, right? And because like everything is colored from our own personal experiences, there's a 0% chance that we can be objective in every situation. But if you can try to take yourself out of it and put yourself in someone else's shoes, then you can try to be and see their perspective. Like, okay, sure, I get it a little bit more. And that's why I don't think like stealing knowledge is a thing. I think you're just learning and becoming more objective as a person.
No.
I don't think learning's a problem, but it was said he stole artifacts in like their books.
Yeah,
but you said stole knowledge and artifacts. That's where I'm getting.
I was thinking books.
Stole knowledge is how it was phrased, but it was very much like, oh, he took books, he took artifacts and stuff. Which I can see where you would be like, oh, but did he actually do that? I can definitely understand that. I think he did based on the way that the narrative frames it. So not based on any logical conclusions. I'm just that's the vibe I get.
So, and Tonnell is not objective. He thinks this dude took everything from him. Right. He thinks he had this great city on the hill. Exactly. And he's like, and everything was great in Quinn society until that freaking guy took everything from us. And we don't know, because there's no such thing as a perfect society. There's always going to be, every society has had war. Every society has killed people. Every society has taken from another society, right? Yeah. That is the history of the world.
I mean,
I'm not smart enough to be able to answer that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like if you go back far enough, there had to have been. Yeah, no, you know what? I won't go for that.
I mean, from everything, I forget what they're called, but there is. I don't know enough about prehistoric
civilizations to be able to like make that claim.
Sure.
And you know what? You're probably right.
At the heart of everybody, at the heart of humans, right? Like we live in a broken world, and in our brokenness, humans will always take when they can, especially when they're hungry, especially when they're tired. Morality goes out when you're hungry, tired, and you don't feel safe. And you're like, those people I don't know, but they have something that I want, and they're probably bad because they have something that I want.
Yeah.
And so I can justify taking that from those people because I need this to survive.
Yeah.
I think narratively, though, so far, Tonnell's almost like a stand-in for the history of maybe the world that hasn't been rewritten and shaped in a certain way.
Sure.
He was right about the runes. He was right about the Quinn witches, being all women, and that's their history for Lee. I'm not saying he's right, but I trust Tonnell's take on history way more than Siona's knowledge of history at this point. I think
that, John,
truth.
What you're saying, it does like raise a good point that there's going to be some flaw in whatever society. I don't think that is going to be another layer that this book explores. I don't think that.
Yeah, we don't have the time for it. We don't have the time for it. This is a single novel.
It would be nice. I don't think that it's going to be this book, but if it is, you'll be right, and you can take back some of the wrong things that you messed up about.
I'd be a little disappointed, right, if the point of this book is like industrialization.
Victims.
Exactly. I would be, because that's just not true to real life.
Right.
Like that's
I think that's
I
fair.
like the way, and I trust ML1 to be like, hey, everything's shades of gray, right? Like there's
Yeah,
no
yeah.
such thing as a perfect society because there
Right.
hasn't been.
Right.
There's always industrialization was great for some, terrible for others, but on the long run, it has increased the world's age, right? More people have lived longer instead of dying at 40 from dysentery or dying at 25 from dysentery. Now we can be like, oh, my tummy really hurts, and that would have killed people 100 years ago. Now
Yeah.
we can just take Imodium and stop being dehydrated to death from poop. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll be surprised if we get that deep in the single novel, but we'll see. So
I
I
could go
think the
either way.
main focus is still very much a character drama with Sciona coming to
I
terms
love. I
with.
mean, this is great. It's very thought evoking, right?
Yeah,
I think it's a super fun
very
book.
very well,
Right.
very well done.
I mean, you can
I
tell
do
by
have
the length of
two.
this recording.
I know. I was just seeing the
Yeah,
time. I have two more critiques to
Yeah.
maybe get us off the philosophical track back into some of the
the
other
book.
parts of the
The
section.
other facets
Yeah,
of the book.
one critique I have. It's not really a big one, but just I feel like a hot take this morning with my iced coffee. I'm a little disappointed in Renthorn's character this turn. I was expecting him to be more of like an intellectual equal to Sciona. Someone's like, just because he's a man, like doesn't mean he's not going to be competent. But now he's teaming up with all these mages, which makes me think, oh, this guy's kind of a bitch. Like he needs a whole team of high mages to compete with Sciona. Where I was just kind of be like her male counterpart. Like she was like, he's just as smart as me, but I need to be like more driven. But now he seems like
I
he's kind
don't
of
think that's
cheating.
necessarily true because I think he is as smart as her on this specific on the knowledge that they were both given up until this point until Tana was like, hey, like there's a whole other world out there that you don't even know about. I think he is
Yeah,
more underhanded than Sciona, where he's, hey, if I
yeah, I'm
I
fine
know
with
that I'm
that.
weak in this section because who is the other mage who is better not at mapping but or at the different type,
Halaros, yeah,
yeah, who is better
and
at this
yeah,
specific thing. So he knew that and was like, hey, if I can bring this, I have this leg up on Sciona because we're both here in mapping and sourcing or whatever. Like, he's not a good person, right? Terrible person. But he's just
yeah,
like, hey, I will get this edged out advantage here, where he didn't realize that having Connell and all this other knowledge would edge out an advantage here. Does that make sense?
I was under the impression that like this like high mage society, everyone kind of wanted to like prove they were the best, like go for the
That
glory,
is that
be
is
the
not true
best.
anywhere ever at all. Everyone will take the pessimist look is Superman doesn't exist. There's no such thing as everyone being driven and wanting to go forward. Where people can take an advantage, they will take an advantage.
Yeah, I'm like, his character's kind of a bitch now.
Well, look at
Yeah,
look,
it's kind of
so
funny.
look at athletes. Sorry to
It's
cut
kind of
you off,
funny.
Ann. You can
Okay.
go. Sorry.
It's kind of funny that you say that, Dan, because it pretty much directly parallels your sort of beef with the idea of Siona's beliefs being correct, where there isn't. Oh, you told me to go for it, and now I don't remember what I was gonna say.
I'm so sorry.
It's gone. It's gone. It's okay.
I'll do mine
But
and
go
then
for your train of thought.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, then you might, because I think it's the same thing. So with athletes going into professional sports, right? Same thing. Like you'd think everyone is driven to work out every single day to optimize their nutrition to do that, but only Tom Brady did that. But a lot of athletes will take shortcuts by taking like steroids, right? It's the same thing morally, in my opinion.
yeah. To me, it's like, if we're going to keep with like this like sports metaphor. It's like the equivalent of what weighs more, like LeBron James winning the championship with the Cleveland Cavaliers when he had a young Kyrie Irving. That was a weak team, and that's a super impressive ring. Versus like his Miami Heat, where he pulled in D Wade, Chris Bosh,
Mhm.
Ray Allen. He pulled in the team. Does that ring weigh more than the Cavs one? No, because he put together a super team and he still won.
Mhm.
And that's cool, but like it's a lesser ring, and that's like keeping the sports out. That's what I'm picturing like Renthorn doing now. Like he's pulling together a super team. I'm like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
like if he wins, like that's still a win, but it's
So is
weaker to
LeBron
me
still a
than
good?
like Sciona being,
But LeBron's the
or he
same
still has to
person. He's
clean.
still and he's still that good of a basketball player. What
He is,
you've almost proved my point. So Renthorn, essentially in this, still a great basketball player, but he is crafting a super team.
yeah, which makes it a weaker win in my opinion.
But it's
Still a
still a
win,
win.
but yeah,
So
just a
what?
weaker one.
So
If we're keeping the sports metaphor. It's like
Yeah, I
which
mean,
Brady
like,
team is the most impressive? Like the '04 with one of the greatest defenses of all time. The 2014 when he won with like Chris Hogan on his offense, like no good receivers. That's a super because he's Tom Brady. Like that's Tom Brady. But if you gave Tom Brady like some of the Peyton Manning offenses he's had or like top defense, like what could he do? Or like even the Tampa one, he was old, but he had like an all-star team around him. Still a win, still super impressive. But there's a
so
weight to the wins.
so Barry Bonds, right? Arguably the best hitter in MLB history. Him breaking the home run record, is it diminished because he took steroids? Because steroids don't make you a better hitter; they just make you a stronger hitter.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
But it's the same thing, right? He took steroids, so he cheated, right?
No, I don't think I think the steroids is like you're individually improving yourself. This is like the Dodgers who like paid way more money to get Shotani, Mookie Betts.
Mm-hmm.
Like they put together a super team and they won. Versus like the Oakland A's who don't have the same bankroll. They're always going to be the underdogs because they don't have the money to put together a super team to compete with the Dodgers.
I
Well,
think
they do
I
have
think
money;
you
they
need
just
to
don't
let the
spend
sports metaphor go. I think you need to let the sports metaphor go. And I think that Renthorn is just a villain. I think he just sucks. End of
Yeah.
story.
You can't say he's
That's
not
fair.
smart
That's
though, because even Sciona has said he is super smart.
I'm
It's
not saying
just
he's not
he's
smart.
doing it in an underhanded way. He's still the villain. You can't say he's dumb.
I'm not saying he's dumb.
He's just being lazy about it. He's just being
he's
lazy
being
about
lazy.
it. Yeah.
Well, no, I think
I think
he's
you guys
gaining
agree.
the advantage where he
literally
can't.
agree.
Yeah, we probably agree.
I think he's taking the advantage
I
where
was
he can find it. I'm not saying it's the right way to do it. I'm just saying taking the. I'm steel manning every single bad argument here, guys. You guys gotta give me some credit, all right? I'm creating the conflict. We can't just have a podcast where we're talking and we all agree. That's not good media.
This is the most conflict we've ever
and,
had.
like,
We're at the 50-minute mark. Coffee's making
I know.
Sean, and I mean, like you kind of convinced me over to the whole like I don't think Leon was necessarily just villain end story. Renthorn, I think he is because we're seeing like firsthand all that stuff.
Yeah, the curse and everything.
But
He's
what was
definitely
what was your other conflict or like criticism, Dan?
Oh, now I lost it. Renthorn.
This is why you need notes, dude.
I need notes. Yeah. Let me see if I have anything here.
Or you can just be like me, be lazy, and jump off of the conflict that other people start in real time. Thank you, John.
I'm here for it.
No, that's the only thing.
Yeah.
That's the only thing
I
I
need
can.
notes. I can just respond to what's going on.
I got caught up with the sports metaphor.
You did. That's check yourself before you wreck yourself. I was just sitting there being like, you guys are just saying words and names.
Yeah, no, I was the third one. I'm not saying he's like dumb or like not smart. I just to me it's just go like I was like, oh okay, like if he even like
it's not that
wins,
I don't
the
think
whole story takes it.
I don't
So,
think
like,
he's
he
any
wins
less
and, like,
driven.
Sciona doesn't beat him. Sorry, you go.
No, I'm sorry. I'm thinking that was my face is like I have resting dumb face. I don't think he's necessarily any less driven than Sciona. I mean, Sciona is the most driven because she's going there on weekends and sleeping in the library essentially, and that's why she's winning. And because she has tunnel secret knowledge of magic. But I don't think that means Renthorn's any dumber or any less driven. I think he's just going about it in a different, underhanded, sneaky way.
Yeah,
because he's trying to craft his super team.
I can kind of buy into that, I guess. I was just thinking like how he was set up was like they had the same mentor. She acknowledges that he was really good. And now we're starting seeing all this underhandedness and him like crafting the super team. And even Sciona says he's going to steal the credit for it. So I'm like, okay, did he get here on his own merit? The way the world works and it's being set up is probably not. Like he's just, obviously he's a bad guy. But I was more interested if he was like a bad guy who was also just happened to be as, I don't know, capable or smart as Sciona. I think that would have been an interesting foil. But
that's what I think
it
seems
like they're kind of driven him to be. He is smart, not taking that away from him, but he's not as smart. He's kind of gotten to where he is through
sabotage.
Sabotage, underhanded methods.
I think that what you were saying, John, about like how Sciona is the most driven, I think that is an aspect of it because she has had to be because the system has been against her. Renthorn, the system has kind of uplifted him, and I think it is the sign of poor quality of character that he has kind of chosen, it seems, to take advantage of the privileges and the shortcuts and being lazy to kind of rest on his laurels, I think is the is the big thing, you know, because it's like, I think, Dan, what you were kind of wanting more is this battle of the minds, sort of like even ground type thing. But I think that this book, the point is that it's systematic, you know, the oppression and the misogyny and stuff. And that's like, that's kind of what we have to look at in terms of just, it is going to be tainted by the underhandedness because of the inherent flaws in the system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd buy that.
I buy into that.
Okay, and
all right. No, I mean, I obviously just love a debate, right? I love an argument. So even if I agree with you guys, I'm gonna find a way to disagree. You know what I mean?
Right.
Same way. I think it makes for interesting debates.
I love a debate. It's who I am. No, I like it a lot. I like conflict, and I think it makes for better argument, and I think it also just leads to more learning. Anyway, so we've already been doing this for 54 minutes. I thought this would be
I was thinking about
much shorter.
Yeah,
this is fun. All right, the next chapters are
10 through 14, 71 pages.
And that's which is the longest stretch. Yeah, this is the longest stretch that we have on this.
Yeah, everything else has been 59, 55, 54. So it's going to be a good 12 pages longer than any we've read before.
Mm-hmm.
What chapters did we just go through here? Was this 8 through 10?
7 to 9.
Well, please give your thoughts in the comments. Yeah. Who's right? Objectively, it's me. But no. Or give us your theories. Yeah, well, or give us your theories. I want to know more. The more we hear from different people, I think the cooler and more interesting it'll be. Because I'm always open to change my mind. All of my opinions are written in same.
100%.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I'll be the first to admit if
like
Leon is a good guy.
I would say, but I think I'm a little bit right. Sand is a little bit far, but yeah, I'm always open to being challenged.
Mine are water. They're always changing. Yeah, if I read next chapter that Leon's a good dude, then I will be the first to say, "Hey, I was wrong."
Yeah. All right.
That's not true. That's not true, Dan. I know you. I know that's not true. All right. But you're a revisionist.